Hello and welcome to Skyrim Pix episode 9. Today's theme is of course archery, and our first image is by Big Mon. This image has a natural charm to it. Sunlight rests on the bow, highlighting the textured wood, and strikes the arrowhead, making it feel razor sharp. Our Khajiit archer is positioned at an angle, and we get an almost full view of his dominant bow. His environment, besides some rocks with trees in the distance, combined with his wooden bow, give the impression that he is a hunter. Furthermore, he seems to have a snarl on his face. Perhaps there's a fluffy bunny rabbit sniffing out the fresh lettuce he left on the hill.
Yes, just a little closer. I was right about the lettuce. You cannot resist it. Steady, steady, aim, fire. Aha! What? No, I missed the shot. I cannot spend another night out here eating tomatoes. Stupid rabbit.
Our next image is by Moin Aria. Sometimes images don't have to show everything to be utterly engaging. Here we have a good example of how less is sometimes more. Our archer is positioned in the right of this image. She's walking, bow in hand. Figures can be seen in the background, talking perhaps. Warm shades of brown flow throughout. Her armour, the wooden beam, her bow, everything is soft and cosy. There is a faint glow of light which gives an indication she's walking towards an indoor fire pit. Perhaps she has just returned after a long hunt and is desperate to put her bow down. The three hunters arrived at the inn, tired, weary. The archer dragged her feet toward the fire pit. The hunt had been fruitless. The riverwood deers had evaded them for the 5th night in a row. As the archer placed her bow on the ground and warmed her hands at the fire, a strange thought crossed her mind. Wasn't it peculiar that every time they'd seen the deers they'd also seen the warlock? Wasn't it slightly odd that his hands glowed purple, and that the deers themselves had had a purple tint to them? Our third image is by Amobe. We're going to be even more extreme with this one. Again, less is more. We get so much from this image, yet we see so little of the scene. Half a bow, 2 dragon wings, some trees, and some mist. But those things are more than enough to tell us the story of the archer who has just drawn his or her bow in preparation to slay the beast. Soft mist sweeps across this image, adding dimension to the already blurred background. Perhaps it's not mist at all. Maybe it's smoke rising from last night's campfire. Reaching for the arrow, he takes a deep breath and dips the tip in paralysis poison. He should know the dragon will be immune to it, but fear can twist a man's mind. Getting his health potions at the ready, he braces himself for dragonfire. And the smoke from last night's campfire rises, stinging his panicked eyes. Our next image is by Mod. The target in the foreground is our first point of interest. It takes up most of the right side of the image. The detail is crisp, and the material looks worn. Our second point of interest is the 2 figures in the distance, which appears to be a man giving a woman an archery lesson. Very quickly we take in the rest of the image, the dummies, the shields, the mountains, the green bushes, the lit brazier. But soon we return to the scene, the target, and the lesson. Perhaps there are a dozen arrows stuck all over the target. Perhaps they're scattered all over the floor behind the target. The smell of freshly baked bread trailed out, and another arrow flew into the bush beside the target. "I'm so tired," she said. "Hit the target 5 times in a row and we'll go inside," he replied. Another arrow hit the bush. "I can't concentrate, can't we just eat first?" she complained, her fingers and shoulders aching. "Let's try something more motivating than fresh bread," he said, and stood on the bush, his boots crunching on the multitude of arrows below. And last but not least, we have an image by Phoenix. The mood of this image is thoughtful, serious. The lighting is sharp and rests on the tip of the arrow, front of the bow, and across the archer's face. The composition is very interesting. Very little of her is showing. We can just about see above her chest, and her bow stretches forward into the centre of the image. The absence of colour creates an almost sombre atmosphere. It seems as though our archer is stood under moonlight, as the image feels dark enough to be nighttime. Rain beats down around her, and the arrow she has just released edges forward. It's midnight. There she is again, the Dunmer. The moon has just emerged from behind the black clouds. Lightning flashes and the arrow hits the target. A rustier practice dummy far away across the lake. Her aim is as absolute as her eyesight. That's it for this episode. As always, please find the Skygraphers linked in the description, and if you love their images like I did, endorse, like or comment on them. And I'll see you all next time with episode 10.